Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro led the swearing-in ceremony of the Bolivarian Integral Community Commands. In St. Lucia, vote counting continues in Monday's general elections. First results show the St. Lucia Labor Party ahead in 12 of the nation's 17 districts. The Palestinian Ministry of Health warned of the closure of hospitals due to the health crisis caused by a lack of supplies, fuel, and continued aggression in the regions of Rafah and Honduras. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro presided Monday in Caracas the swearing-in of the Bolivarian Integral Community Commands. The ceremony gathered thousands of Venezuelans after a march along the streets of Caracas, which ended at the Miraflores Palace. During the event, the Bolivarian head of state highlighted the importance of the new role of the commands, as well as praised the participation of the national armed forces in achieving an indestructible unity with the people for the defense of the country's sovereignty. The commands are the highest authority of the more than 237,913 Bolivarian integral base committees already active throughout the country. This new organizational structure responds to the guidelines issued by the 5th Congress of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela and aims to strengthen the party's territorial organization in order to transform it into a party movement.
"22 weeks where our glorious national armed forces have proven its union, its indestructible union with the people of Venezuela, its discipline and its bravery to defend each piece of Venezuelan soil."
President Nicolás Maduro also affirmed that today Venezuela has achieved the greatest unity since the imperialist aggression of 1902.
The greatest power that Commander Hugo Chavez said a country could have is the power of the public opinion, the power of the citizens, of its convictions, of its values. And I can say to the world today that this country has conquered the greatest national union that has ever had since the times of Cipriano Castro and the imperialist aggression of 1902.
Moving on to the topics, in St. Lucia, vote counting continues in Monday's general elections. Polls are so far showing a strong lead for the St. Lucia Labor Party over the United Workers' Party, as it is currently winning in 12 out of the 17 districts. In Castries East, incumbent Prime Minister Philip Joseph Pierre leads the race with over 80% of the votes. This Monday, more than 179,000 citizens were called to the polls to choose representatives for all 17 seats in the House of Assembly. We're now going live to St. Lucia with our correspondent Belén Dos Santos, who has all the information on this electoral process that took place.
Hello, Luis. Exactly as you were saying, we are here in Grosislet. What you're seeing behind me is one of the main roads here, and it's very calm right now, but it's just about to change probably. We have results already. We have had them for a couple of hours now, and we have been following the results, and a major change has occurred because we have a lot more votes counted right now. The turnout and the vote counting jumped from like 10%, 12% to now we have 47%, 72% of the votes counted in each of the constituencies. So with this vote counting underway, we can now have a little bit more of a definite tendency in many of these constituencies. We go over some of them. For example, where we are right now, the Gross is led. We are seeing the official candidate for the St. Lucia Labor Party, Kenson Casimir, leading with 68% of the votes. That is with 47% of the votes counted. That is an important difference at this moment. When we went over this just a couple of minutes ago, it was over with 10% of the votes counted. So that has been a big change. This is showing a definite tendency in the favor of the ruling party of the government of Prime Minister Philippe Pierre, and we're starting to see some people that are honking their horns as they pass by. We are going to see some caravans. People are starting to celebrate and heading to each of the centers of the constituencies. One of the most important one, the one that in which the Prime Minister is candidate, Castries East. Well, the Prime Minister Philippe Pierre, he has already been assigned the victory at that constituency with over 90% of the votes counted. He had a lead of 77.8%, a very wide difference, and he has been assigned that victory. We continue going over some of the results. Another of the victories that has already been declared is at the Ancela Rice O'Canary's constituency, an important one because it had a minimum difference in past elections, and in this case, with 91% of the votes counted, it was already awarded to Wayne Girard from the SLP. So once again, we are seeing a tendency that consolidates a possible win for the official candidate, for the official party of Prime Minister Philippe Pierre, the Labor Party of St. Lucia. We will continue following all the information. We will continue following the possible celebrations that are just about to begin. We've seen some trucks pass by right now, but the night is still beginning, so we will have more information briefly. Luis, we go back to you.
Thank you, Valen, for the latest information. We're going to stay tuned as we continue following up the vote counting of this electoral process that just took place in St. Lucia. We're going to continue tuned to see if the lead of the SLP continues. But for now, let's go over the profiles of the main candidate, Philippe Joseph Pierre, who is leading and seems to concrete a new re-election as Prime Minister in St. Lucia. Philippe Joseph Pierre is the current Prime Minister, we're saying, of the Caribbean nation and belongs to the St. Lucia Labor Party, a center-left and social democratic party. Pierre, who is from the capital city of Castries, served as Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation and International Financial Services from 1997 to 2000. The candidate was also re-elected as a deputy for Castries East in the 2001, 2006 and 2011 general elections. In 2011, he assumed the roles of Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Infrastructure, Ports and Transport. We have our first break coming up. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Honduras, following an electoral process riddled with irregularities, the gap between presidential candidates Nasri Asfour and Salvador Nasrallah narrows. With over 53% of the votes counted, Liberal Party candidate Salvador Nasrallah is closing in with 39.67%, while his opponent Nasri Asfour of the National Party remains in the lead with 40.08% of the votes. Next is presidential candidate Rizzi Moncada of the Libre Party with 19.23% of the votes. The Honduran National Electoral Council's results system continues to be updated with about 50% of the votes still to be counted in the country's 18 departments. And the Libre Party maintains its position that it will not recognize the preliminary results issued by the TREP system and demands that the vote count be completed before issuing any statements regarding the winner of the elections. This position confirms the previous warnings of its presidential candidate, Rizzi Moncada, who had pointed out the vulnerabilities of the system and the possible manipulation by the traditional parties. In addition, the Labor Party stated that more than 70% of the records in several key departments of the country have not yet been transmitted, and maintains that presenting the trapped data as an almost definite result is a serious error on the part of the electoral body. On several occasions, Libre denounced that the transmission is in the hands of private companies, which violates national sovereignty. Also in Honduras, the opinion polling company Opinometro presented the preliminary results of its exit polls after processing data from all age groups and genders in the population.
After 4 cuts, the result obtained through a process that included all age groups and genders are as follows. The Liberty and Refoundation Party Libre candidate Rixi Moncada Godoy obtained 36.83% of the votes. The Liberal Party candidate Salvador Nasralla obtained 31.55% of the votes. The National Party of Honduras candidates Nasri Asfura Sabla obtained 25.79% of the votes. The Innovation and Unity Party candidate Nelson Avila obtained 1.43% of the votes. And the Christian Democratic Party candidate Mario Rivera Callejas obtained 0.49%. Blank votes accounted for 1.58% and invalid votes for 2.32%. These results reflect the trends captured in the exit polls and offer a preliminary projection of the political landscape in the country, indicating that candidate Rixi Moncada will be the next president of Honduras for the 2026-2030 term.
In this regard, the Opinometro technician explained that the exit poll methodology was based on a stratified and probabilistic sampling, enabling greater accuracy in generalizing the data.
The methodology to be presented basically consists of a stratified and probabilistic survey. Allowing for generalization of the data. The sample has been prepared based on the electoral weight of the municipalities with the greatest weight in the country. From that point on, 25 municipalities have been taken into account, and those 25 municipalities are distributed across the main departments of the country, that is 12 departments. The confidence levels for this survey are practically 95%, with a margin of error of 5%.
And Honduras remains completely calm after the general elections were held last Sunday, November 30th. Citizens resumed their normal activities, while the streets of Tegucigalpa appear calm and without signs of tension. The capital maintains a peaceful atmosphere after the polls closed and the democratic process advanced in the nation. Likewise, public transportation is operating regularly and private vehicles are traveling to their usual destinations, reflecting a full return to daily routines. Now for our second break coming up, before we invite to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. And I'll be right back. Welcome back. The Palestinian Ministry of Health warned of the closure of hospitals due to the health crisis caused by a lack of supplies, fuel, and continued Israeli aggressions in the regions of Rafah and Han Yunis in the south of the Gaza Strip. The ministry confirmed that the Israeli occupation is deliberately prolonging the fuel crisis, which is interrupting surgeries and the operation of equipment for patients. In addition, Palestinian authorities warned that the winter season is worsening the conditions of those affected by the continued genocide perpetrated by the Zionist regime, as camps are flooded by rain. Meanwhile, Israeli warplanes continue to attack towns east of the city of Rafah, where one neighborhood is reported to have been destroyed. In the United Kingdom, thousands of people took to the streets of London to protest against the genocide in the Gaza Strip. This demonstration coincides with the International Day of Solidarity with Palestine, and it is the 33rd national mobilization since October 2023. According to the organizers, the main objective of this march was to demand an end to the occupation of the Palestinian enclave and the cessation of arms sales to the Israeli army. In this regard, demonstrators also criticized the British government's support for the Tel Aviv regime and demanded the breaking of diplomatic relations with Benjamin Netanyahu's government. In Yemen, hundreds of citizens gathered in Sana'a to celebrate the 58th anniversary of Independence Day. The mobilization was a day marked by slogans of resistance and rejection of any form of foreign occupation. At the close of the event, a statement was issued underlining the determination of the Yemeni people to face any future challenge, whether military, security, or social. In this context, the statement reiterated support for the Palestinian and Lebanese causes, while recalling that the commemoration of November 30th symbolizes that all forms of occupation are destined to disappear. In Indonesia, the death toll rose to almost 600 after floods and landslides in 3 provinces on the island of Sumatra. Flooding and landslides caused by recent torrential rains have affected the Indonesian provinces of Aceh, West Sumatra, and North Sumatra. According to the National Agency for Disaster Management, the death toll from the disaster so far is 593, with 468 people still missing and 2,600 injured. Meanwhile, more than 578,000 people were forced to leave their homes, as 3,500 buildings were seriously damaged. In this scenario, Indonesian President ordered the mobilization of all national resources to speed up the emergency response. And given the magnitude of the emergency, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto personally traveled to the areas most devastated by the floods to supervise rescue efforts on site and offer direct support to families. This tragedy has already affected more than 1 million people, leaving nearly 290,000 displaced. In this scenario, civil organizations and authorities are insisting on the urgency of declaring a state of national emergency to speed up the arrival of aid and guarantee essential resources for the population. At this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.